gotta say, I always loved the drumming trees. To me, now I want to do a feature.
I done
on
a
them.
painting of that.
Those drumming trees are like.
I have a painting of that.
I think I saw when we looked inside.
No, you didn't. It's down in Gorey. It's hanging. My niece always wanted that.
Well, I tell you, to me, it's like
I
a
know
Hollywood
that.
sign.
I say that's Harmon's Hill.
Yeah, well, Harmon's. I spoke to Harmon's now about doing something on it. I'm hoping to find out a bit more about the. You know, because I'm just thinking, what were they planted for a particular reason? Obviously, they're aesthetically
pleasing.
pleasing.
They're just old they're old. They're old trees.
Yeah.
As I say, we're here at the top of Bellevue now, as you know yourself. That's it was an old orphanage.
Was it?
That was an old school or orphanage back in the, what would have been the 100 years ago or more.
Right.
And then a doctor lived in it in the 40s and 50s. There was a doctor in that.
Right.
And before my time now, it wasn't my time.
So
and then Mrs.
built for such purposes, or was it a private home?
No, it was a big private home.
Right.
There's pictures of that. And Mrs. Carbolis came in 1950, I think.
You can get a cream for that, can't you, Carbolis?
Carbolis. She was, they had the lemonade factory. She was the Emmett.
Okay.
She was Emmett, one of the distant relation of Emmett's of Altidore and the great freedom fighter back in the 17th century.
Okay, wow.
Emmett himself. She was a distant relation.
Right.
But she's dead now she died about 8 years ago. She reared her family there.
Okay.
And then she's dead about 8 years. She had lovely hidden gardens. She was a lovely lady. And she had old-time gardens, wild gardens.
Right.
And it was all around the house.
Yeah.
And she was an animal lover and a naturist. She loved nature and flowers. You weren't allowed to use sprays or chemicals. Okay. Everything was done naturally.
Now, I do recall in the 70s, we'd play football just on the field here to our right, but right in front of the house there was a very popular football spot.
Hello?
Take a call. Go ahead.
Hello? And as I say, but the great history to it, there was an old school, because there about 10 years ago a man came up one day. He was from Paris.
All right.
An old gentleman.
Okay.
And he
was. When would this have been? The 80s or 70s or?
I know, going back about 15 years ago.
Okay.
I was down with her one day.
Right.
And she said there's a man here, like he was looking up his ancestry, and one of his great nieces died in it at the age of 11. And he was looking up the family tree.
Right.
And she died in that place at age 11. I think, I don't know, it was an orphanage of some sort or another.
I must see if I can find any record of the.
But there's big plans now. A builder has it now for houses,
we have the one.
I can't go into it too much.
Yeah, but I know. Well, obviously the locals are not happy, and
residents are.
But we've got here Gorteen Way Limited. The 89 two-story dwellings, including 25 4-bedroom, blah blah blah.
And as I say, when we were young boys, Mr. Corbus himself, a gentleman, he gave us a field to play football in.
Yeah.
And we had some.
This was always a great
we had some great football matches here.
Yeah.
And great footballers. The lads out of the cottages here.
Well,
Vincent.
I think Patrick Byrne is probably the best of them, I would imagine.
Well, one of the Burns, they come down. They played it with. They come down with Hurley, the Burns from. That's the Burns from Blackberry Lane now.
Yeah, the legendary Burns from Blackberry Lane.
But actually, I organised matches again, Greystones, and the odd occasion, Johnny Robbie would be up.
Okay.
And Robbie went on to be the scrum half for Ireland. Wow. I think he lives now in South Africa. Good soccer player. He was a great soccer player, Johnny.
That would have been, the 70s was the prime years. There was no, it wasn't.
Well, it'd be the 70s and 80s, I'd say.
But there wasn't much of a, because my brother Patrick now played there a lot. He would have left in 78, 79.
But they come down and all the cottages here. There was great footballers.
Sure,
the Barrys, and then you had McDonald's, and then you had
the Whites were down there.
The Whites, Stephen and Lawrence, good footballers.
Yeah. It was a fantastic gathering. I don't think it was ever, the way football can get, any sport can get a little bit kind of tribal and a bit sort of, but it was never rough. I was always very last of the summer wine kind of easy in my memory. It was
we used to supply the what you call it, the things for them and the wheelchairs for after the match. We had everything organised.
You have to be ready. You have to be ready for all sorts of
crutches. That's the word. Yeah.
But of course, the Heffernans lived on the lodge of the house, just again down to the right. But I have some photographs from before. I'll include so people get an idea.
But as I say, as this viewing point, as we're here now,
right,
on a nice clear day. It's cloudy now at the moment. You can see all the mountains of Wales and all.
Right.
All snow. Just from this viewpoint.
Sure.
But as I say, there's houses to go up and there's new planning by builders.
Yeah.
And the local residents are giving out because the road and speed by cars.
Sure.
It's overloaded, you
Well,
know.
we've already got the village has certainly got a problem with traffic, and then you're dealing with an influx heading, even though the new roundabout over by Donoghu is leading into Delgany Wood and all that, at certain times of day that's just as busy as all hell. And
I think they're trying to solve the problem, the planning. I think there's 60.
And there's plans for the road to lead from here directly down to that roundabout, bypassing the village.
Yeah.
That's one of the possibilities of because these developers know what they're up against, and they do plan ahead, and they do kind of look for get out kind of deals where they can basically satisfy the demands of the local community, and of course money talks as well, which is
But as I said, when I was a young fella here, there used to be a lady lived in this house, which is not visible now at the moment.
right.
Mrs. Lejean.
Lejean, very nice.
She
Sure, that's
rare
not a
three
made-up
door.
name. Lejean.
Her husband was a famous painter, famous artist.
Do you know what his name was?
I don't know. I think he was a portrait painter.
Picasso.
No, and Picasso was on. He was over the sea.
Killycarrig,
He was
alright.
over. No, but Lejean was quite famous as a
Right.
painter.
Oh, very
His
good.
wife lived here.
Right.
And
Very nice.
I
I should ask, just to wrap up with the lady of the house now. She sort of spent the last few years would have just been herself. I don't know if she had her family still with her there, or
well,
it's a sad thing that she's gone.
yeah, she reared her family, Mrs. Corballis, and he died years ago in the 70s or 80s. Gentleman.
Right.
She was a lady. They were private people, kept themselves to them, and they reared their family.
Yeah.
And she loved her horses and etc.
Yeah.
She loved their
Well,
animals.
I guess there's none of the family around, and that
But as I say, the danger here now is that particular building close to us, that's asbestos that's on that roof.
All right.
So
Okay. Yeah.
one doesn't know what's going to happen to it.
Well, it's always sad to see, what is quite a beautiful house and a bit of local history. It is, part of nature that things do pass, things move on. But
Yeah.
there's certainly a sadness in a family home kind of being.
I think
knocked down and-
she's about 8 years dead.
Right. Well, a beautiful spot, and hopefully there may be. I don't know if there's any plans, but it'd be nice to think they might be able to retain
Well, I
the building.
can't comment. I'm just as I lived here all my life.
Right.
My village kind of went 20 years ago
Yeah.
because things have changed so much that there's no character to it anymore.
Well, I beg to disagree a little bit. I do think the main street, is still very much what it always was, and places like the Horse and Hounds are still very much what they always were. And
Yeah, well,
I think the Farleys have been there, like Anthony and Podrick. They've been there for at least
keeping
60
the
years.
shop going.
They
Yeah,
have them.
yeah.
There are definitely
But
characteristics to it. that
as
are
I
the
say,
same-
the
same.
people years ago would be talking and chatting and meeting the norm. You know what I mean?
Farleys, you can't shut them up.
Well, that's right too.
Yeah, no, there are definitely a few remnants of that time, and thankfully, obviously all around here that there's fields been taken over by housing estates, but the actual village itself is very much as it always was. I photographed of that village from over 100 years ago, and there's hardly a difference to the
structure
layout.
of it, the layout.
Yeah, and it's just generally the
Yeah,
same.
well,
which
the
is-
old walls and that in the centre of the village, I think they're have character.
Oh, big time.
I think they're lovely. And as I said before in another interview, it slows up the traffic. You don't get anyone killed in the village or hurt or anything because
you might die of boredom or just waiting to try and get through the
Well,
village.
yeah,
You
well,
might
but-
you might
but-
slip into a coma trying to get to work or trying to get to
that's what I
school.
mean. Speed
Yeah.
kills, or it's killing all the.
Yeah, where a coma just gives you a good rest.
Well,
Yeah.
it's the people that's coming in now and buying new houses and settling. There's a whole lot of new little estates all around the village.
Bloody foreigners blowing.
I don't know.
I'll tell you now.
Well, progress. You
Will you be at
can't.
the rally tomorrow night, the rally meeting? Are you coming down to the...
Driving a rally now, or is that
the sheets are gorgeous. The new cotton, you wait to feel them, gorgeous. But listen, we'll hopefully have some photographs too, and I'd love to find photographs of the building in its prime. But it would be great to think they will hold on to.
No,
the
as
structure.
I said, it was an old orphanage.
All right, I didn't know that. You just told me.
Yeah, but as
Yeah.
I say,
Right.
if that to a school.
Yeah.
But in the old days, old photographs of that, back in the 20s and 30s, all the laneway down, the entrance to the main house
Yeah.
was covered in trees.
Yeah, it'd be like Stylebone House. No, there's a beautiful property.
Well,
I
what
remember it
happened
being
in
a very stunning-
that's what happened to all the big old houses back in the 17th and 18th century.
Sure.
They were brought in the trees for the avenues to keep
Oh, yeah.
protection.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it was a form of, there's all old places all over Ireland.
Sure.
Have their laneways and it's all trees. I think they brought
I'm
in the
hoping to do that
spruce.
down in where I am down in Kilmastown. I
Pine.
want to try and do a row of trees going in just up the steps into the
Lovely.
house.
And then you encourage the birds and
That's
the
it.
wildlife
That's
and all.
it. Well, you got to eat,
We got to eat.